Transport for London is arguably the world's best transport authority. And before the pandemic, we were doing incredibly well. We reduced the deficit I inherited by 71%, increased cash balances by 13%, reduced operating costs year on year, introduced the night tube for the first time in 150 years. The only reason we have financial problems is because of the pandemic, because Londoners did the right thing, stayed at home, and our fares plummeted. And so we need support from the government. Otherwise, we're going to have to make big cuts. The money we have from the government, the short-term deal, runs out on December the 11th. Without support from the government, we'd have to cut our tube budget by around 10%. That's like a tube line closing down. We'd have to cut our bus services by around 20%. That's like 100 bus routes going. The short fact is you can't have a national recovery without a London recovery. You don't get a London recovery without TfL firing all cylinders. That's why it's in everyone's interest to work together to support TfL during this difficult time until we get passengers back. The frank fact is we're currently bringing in less than we're spending because passengers haven't come back yet. That's why it's so important for us to work together to make sure we support TfL.
Now, of course, the government's already put in £4 billion. To somebody who lives in another part of the country, they may have concerns about London transport being subsidised in this way, and they may say, well, why not put the fares up?
We have. The government asked us to put the fares up, and we have. We agreed to RPI plus 1. That could be an increase of 4 or 5% next year at a time when people face a cost of living crisis. The government has rightly given financial support to train operating companies across the country without attaching any strings. The government has rightly given support to many businesses that struggled during the pandemic. Why? Because actually supporting businesses and train operating companies is a way of stopping those businesses going bust. A business going bust leads to unemployment, redundancies, a burden on the taxpayer. Supporting them avoids that happening and they become productive. TfL supports the economy in London. We as a city contribute £40 billion net to people across the country. If TfL is struggling, if London businesses are struggling, people across the country will do less well going forward.